If you're getting jaw pain, ear pain, or perhaps even headaches that either sit here or sit at the back of your head here, then this video is for you. I'm going to explain what might very well be the cause of those symptoms. So today we're going to be looking at a particular muscle. You may or may not have heard of it. It's called the sternocleidomastoid, often shortened to SCM. And after this video, if you recognise any of these symptoms in yourself, then just let me know. It'd be good to know what you're going through, what your experience is of this. So let's get on with this. My name is Ellie Lindsay, and I am a massage therapist who specialises in treating jaw pain, clenching, grinding, and headaches. And I do that both in my clinic in the UK and also online through my programs. So the SCM muscle. First of all, where is it? So I'm going to show you a picture in a minute, but the easiest way really is for me to demo it on myself, and perhaps it will resonate with you a bit more than seeing just a diagram. So the muscle actually sits at the side of our neck. So it starts off at the back here, and then it comes forwards and attaches to the breastbone, and also a portion of it comes here and attaches to the collarbone. And sometimes you can really see it in people. It's really prominent. You know, kind of like when people have that really strong neck definition, you can see it sometimes in people like bodybuilders. And I always just think of the Incredible Hulk when he does that kind of thing where he like really tenses up and you can see all of the structures in his neck. So to help you locate it on yourself, perhaps or perhaps not, you can see it on me. It kind of like when I turn my head, it pops out and sticks out. You see here, right here. And if you do that as well, if you just turn your head, your feet, and put your hand around this area here, you'll actually feel it move, because this muscle is responsible for doing this action. So you'll feel it kind of activate as you turn your head. And just know that if you're touching around there, trying to feel it, then this muscle actually is like the barrier. So you don't want to be, if you can locate where your SCM is, if you're doing any work on yourself, then just know you don't want to be in front of it, because then you're really kind of interfering with this front area here of the throat. So when I'm working on patients, for example, the SCM is kind of my barrier, and I rarely, sometimes I do, but I rarely work sort of more medial, sort of more to the middle of that line that comes down here. So let's talk about the problems that this muscle causes. So I'm just going to show you this image. You may have seen me share this image with you before, but it's always good to just keep going over it, because we always sort of learn new things and cover new things as we have deeper conversations about this. So I've got this diagram here, and this is the pain pattern that this muscle causes. So first of all, let's look at where the muscle is. And you see where these X's are here? That's exactly where I just showed you on yourself. So it starts from behind the ear, and then it comes down and attaches to the breastbone, and then a section of it also comes down here and attaches to the collarbone. So this grey bit here with the X's just simply shows you where the muscle is. So that's all we need to know about that. We don't need to pay too much more attention to the X's right now. But this red pattern here, so the dots and the sort of darker reds sort of patterns here are showing you the sort of pain that you can get from the SCM. So you can see here that really kind of prominent is that pain just in front of the ear in the jaw area here. It's a really common thing for the SCM to cause that. And when I talk about causing, we're really talking about trigger points here. So this muscle having trigger points in it refers pain elsewhere in the body. So if you want a bit more training on that, then just let me know, because I've got a full training on sort of how that happens, why that happens, etc. So just know that this muscle causes trigger points, and those trigger points refer pain elsewhere. So trigger points in the SCM muscle refer pain into the jaw. And what we really mean by that is that the problem isn't really in the jaw, the problem is with this muscle itself, and the body interprets it as being jaw pain. And if that's left for a considerable amount of time, you end up with problems in the jaw as well as having problems with the SCM. It also causes this headache at the back of the head here, which is actually a really horrible headache to have. I know quite a few of my patients have come in with this sort of headache here, and it really kind of often gives you that brain fog kind of feeling. You can't really get on with your day very well at all with that sort of headache. It can cause pain up and around the eye here, and just see that point there just above the eyebrow, that can be really tender for some people who have problems with the SCM muscle. And then if we look at this diagram here as well, because this is talking about the second layer of the SCM, which is, you know, we can just treat them as one because they're so closely interlinked. And this, see how that causes that pain in the ear, like right in the ear there, real earache pain. And it can also actually cause tinnitus, ear ringing, and sort of that muffled feeling in your ears if you can't quite hear properly. And then it can cause this massive sort of headache just above the eye. And this can be so strong that you can get it on both sides. So it can sometimes feel like a band kind of going across your forehead there. And it might only be coming from one side, but it can naturally travel to both sides of your head. So that just gives you a bit of an idea of the SCM and the problems that it can cause. So, and it's really, I find that when people have problems with the SCM, these are like huge problems. It's not just, oh, it's a little bit, you know, a little bit painful, or it's just a little bit sore. It's things that really over time start to build up and build up and build up and massively impact people's lives. So one of the reasons why these trigger points can develop, it's quite complex, but I'm going to just talk about one of the main reasons, is the way that we hold our heads. So if you imagine that we kind of often are in this forward headed posture, that actually means if our head is coming forward, actually means that the front and the sides of our neck have to do the work of holding up our really heavy head, when actually it should be the spine and all the way through the body, you know, your pelvis, your legs, they should all share this responsibility of holding your head up. And the SCM can just get overworked and start to get these knots and trigger points in it over time. It can take years sometimes, and that can really build up and then start to lead to these sorts of symptoms. So if you want to just palpate the SCM yourself, just go to where I showed you. So you can start just at if you come behind your ear and just feel the base of your skull here. That's where the SCM kind of merges into the scalp here. So just find the base there and just kind of like give it a bit of, don't be afraid to actually touch your own body. You're not going to do any damage here. If it's really painful, then just apply less pressure. That's really one of the key things here. Like, don't be afraid to actually work on this yourself. It's not always, it doesn't have to always be an external person kind of telling you what you should do or what you shouldn't do. So just have a little feel here and see how it feels. Give it a bit of compression. How does it feel? Is there any tenderness there? And just come forward with it as well. Get an idea of where this is. It can feel quite ropey, can feel like a tendon or a bone. Some people even think it's a bone and they're amazed to find out that it's a muscle. It can feel like this big, strong rope sometimes. Just give it a feel like this, just with your fingers, and maybe just take them side to side and get an idea Because if this is feeling really tender to you, then chances are that that is causing all of these symptoms that you're getting up here. And you may even find as you compress through there that some of these symptoms start to feel a bit worse. And that's even more of a sign that this muscle is heavily involved. And some people say to me, you know, well, of course it hurts if I'm pressing, but actually, no, it shouldn't hurt just to put a bit of compression onto a muscle. So if it is painful, then chances are you have some issues there with the SCM muscle. So I hope this has been a good educational and helpful video for you. I'd really love to hear if you resonate with any of these symptoms, if you're getting them, how does it feel when you feel your SCM? Do just reach out to me and let me know, because I'm always glad to hear of other people's experiences with this. Okay, speak to you soon.